contribution to the GDP is still high, over 22%. And then it's still the main foreign exchange earner for the country. That is Uganda as a country. And then employs over 70% of the population, contributing to an export base of over 50%, due to the fact that we are an agro-based economy. But still, we rely on nature to feed our agriculture. Irrigation is still at infancy, and few people practice it. And yet we're endowed, we're a blessed country, whereby over 80% of our country is arable, and yet we have only utilized or cultivated 35%. The few individuals who are cultivating are practicing what we call the subsistence agriculture, growing more of what they produce and producing more of what they consume. We have a huge potential to feed over 200 million people. The size that is more than the current population of East Africa. Also, it's important to note that a major shift is needed to deliberately transform the practices that are subsistence in nature to a commercial and a more market-oriented form of production. Of course, that puts the consumer in mind, because the consumer is the only person who has money to the value chain. All of us at the upper end of the chain rely on the consumer. So when we talk about agribusiness, basically, we are looking at two aspects: agriculture and business. And it entails contain a more wide range of aspects or nodes, such as input, where we look at things like seed, fertilizer, and a number of aspects there. Then production and processing nodes, as well employ a number of people. Then we have what we call the business development services, like the banking, insurance, transport and logistics, and warehousing. So that those nodes offer valuable opportunities, as we shall look through moving forward in discussions. We shall dissect the potential or the opportunities that exist in those areas. So a study that we undertook last year still found out that amidst the production, the production spheres, we are faced with climate change as a country. This was a nationwide data that was analyzed and found that we are still facing climate change. And this leads to food shortage or food insecurity. But before I end the preamble, I would like to stress out a 60% story in line with agriculture. As a country, we are all aware that over 60% of our population, it could be now around 80%, are youth. And yet, the people who are actively participating in agriculture are over 60 years old. And yet, for transformation to be felt or affected or to have a good impact in sub-Saharan Africa as a whole, we need over 60% of deliberate action to reverse the trend. So based on that background, I would like to still reaffirm that agriculture as a business is the way to go. As we can see, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, who is among my favorite personalities in agribusiness in Africa, he put it clearly that agribusiness is the future. So it's not just a practice, but it's a way of living. So I would like to briefly introduce the panel. I mean, the panelists tonight, but before, maybe I would invite president of the Forum for Development of Greater Nebbi, young professionals, to open the discussion, and then I'll invite the panelists I'll introduce the panelists. Thank you so much. James, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, moderator, Mr. Genwood Brian. Our panelist of the day that will be introduced much later. Then the representative of MAIF present with us, our own Irene Udongto, and then Mr. Ogwal Yofes. We are so honored to have you here. Our elders who also chose to join us in the discussion. I saw we have Mr. Ukelo Charles, and also we have Dr. Rema Jakor somewhere there in the list. And my fellow colleagues, the young professionals of Greater Nebbi. You are most welcome. My name is Wanadi James. Just like Genroth Brand made an introduction earlier, I am the young professionals president for the Greater Nebbi area. This is just like one of the department or a secretariat within the Forum for Development of Greater Nebbi. We came together and started moving as a team in 2021. I still recall it was a Labor Day, 1st of May. And with the clear objectives that number one, that we should provide a forum where we are able to share our ideas and learnings as young people of the greater land. Also that a forum where information and linkages to opportunities can be accessed. And then we had the aspect of social mentorship and interaction on core developmental issues that we think can be able to shape the greater Nebbi area. And this will contribute to the normal saying from our greater president, Mr. Emilio, that we are changing the narratives together. So coming from all this background, we acknowledge that the young professionals come from different disciplines or professionalisms within Uganda or world over. But when we look at our ground of Greater Nebbi in particular, you will realize that agribusiness is inevitable. Why? When you give it a deeper thought, you realize that over 90% of the people who are residents in the Greater Nebbi are in one way or the other directly or indirectly engaged in one form of agriculture. And this shows that without the agriculture that we are practicing, then we will not be able to survive as an area. But also when we look at the potential of the land of Greater Nebbi, just like mentioned by the moderator, we realize that agriculture still remains the biggest employment opportunity within this space, in addition to giving us the money into the economy. So when we do not take it seriously as young people, then chances are high that even the current economy where we are, as we go forward, we may continue to go even to a worse state than this. So collectively, discussion have always been popping up. And you will realize that on our forum, people will sometimes ask questions which are agriculture related or agribusiness triggered. And in some time it has been discussed, but most time there were no conclusions. And as it go further, you tend to see minds shifting to blaming one sector or the other, or blaming one person after the other. Until when we chose that we should bring this webinar, and once it's convened, bring the professionals across the board, the different panelists, to be able to discuss together and to see what are the opportunities that exist.
Mr. President, you have 1 minute.
What are the opportunities that exist within our land in the agribusiness sector that we think can be explored, can be taken upon, and we can be able to invest into? I welcome you all. Let us take this opportunity to discuss intensively. Let us make clear action points that we think can be able to work for us. May God bless you. I declare the meeting open. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful remarks. You have actually set the ball rolling. So without wasting time, I take this opportunity to introduce Ms. Grace Quach, who is among our panelists. Grace holds a master's degree in business administration and had a working experience from the banking sector before abandoning the banking job to come and concentrate on farming or agribusiness. She owns a mixed farm called Polar Farm in Kalawang, Nebbi, where she does livestock and crop production. She's currently starting up small-scale value addition, specifically processing wine and beef products. She employs a good number of young people, both on permanent and as casual workers. Then next on board, we have Mr. Kawambe Felix, who serves as a district agriculture officer for Pakwash District Local Government. He has a background of a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture from Uganda Matters University and a Master's of Agroecology. And he has worked before in both NGO and government program, that is the NADS. We are glad to have him on board. Then we have Dr. Osborne Oiroth, holds a LDC certificate in law with a background of a Bachelor of Veterinary Medicine from Makerere, a diploma in animal health, and a number of other certificates. He's currently pursuing a master's in vet medicine, Makerere, and also M&E, I think at UMI, with a diploma in teacher education as well. He's a hardworking man indeed. So he's an extensionist, veterinary surgeon, field drug epidemiologist, then serves on the technical committee of agriculture, and also the farm veterinarian or doctor for Shida Nakazi, that is located in Zumbu. Then again, in summary, the president also happens to be a panel member. He's currently a student at Gulu University, pursuing a Masters of Agri-Enterprise Management. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture from Uganda Matters and a diploma in crop production and management from Bukalasa. He has practical field experience in areas of local seed business, gender action, learning methodology, and cooperative development. He has worked for the past 7 years with farmers and extension workers in Greater Nebbi and entire West Nile. And currently, he works with Agri-Exim, who are into commercial farming, commercial value chain engagements, where he's heading culture extension at Proshuamit in West Nile region. So basically, those are the panelists, but I will also call upon Mr. Ogwang Afesi to introduce himself because he has joined the panel. Thank you so much. Mr. Afesi, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Bwana Moderator. As a matter of introduction, Yafesi Ogwang is my name. I work at the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Industries as Assistant Commissioner in charge of agribusiness. I have a master's in economics and international finance and a diploma in agribusiness one from Idaka, Japan, the other one is from Jimmy, Israel. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's good. It's really a very robust panel. I believe we shall dissect these issues up to the final conclusion. Just to be sure, I want to confirm whether Grace is on. Frank, is Grace on? Frank, is Grace on? Can't
She's
see.
not yet on. I'm trying to reach her so that she can join.
Okay, if she gets on, you let me know. But for the time
right.
being, we can begin with the rest of the panelists. I'm beginning with Mr. Yafis. Your department is doing a lot of work in line with agribusiness, more so at the policy angle, and also supervising at that apex. So I would want to hear some success stories as far as Greater Nebbi is concerned, or the part of Nebbi Zumbo Pakwach is concerned regarding agribusiness promotion.
Thank you very much, Bwana Moderator. As an officer of the ministry, I have to bring to your notice that at the moment we are pursuing what is called agro-industrialization program of the ministry, whereby under agro-industrialization, we have about 5 areas. We have the issues of enterprise selection. We have developed an agribusiness book, which you are calling Enterprise Selection Guide. That covered the whole country, Nebbi, Greater Nebbi inclusive. I believe if you talk of Greater Nebbi, we are talking about Pakwach, Nebbi, and Zombo.
Yes.
Yeah. So Nebbi is inclusive in all this program of government of MAIF. Nebbi is not exclusive. So in this agro-industrialization program, we developed that book. We are also promoting increasing in production and productivity of the various enterprises. In that book, we have about 42 enterprises. But as a ministry, we are trying to promote production and productivity of about 18 enterprises, which if you talk about Greater Nebbi, we have coffee. You know very well, you are very good in coffee in Zombo, that the ministry is also trying to promote through other projects and also the ministry. We have tea in Zombo. We have so many enterprises, including fish. By the way, Nebbi, Greater Nebbi is well positioned because of the River Nile. And for you, you have a lot of fish, and there is a fish that comes specifically from Nebbi called, is it this one called what? If you can market that, even regionally, internationally, that would be your, something to think about. Angara is something to think about. So increasing production and productivity in all areas, crops, animal, and fish, post-harvest management and primary processing. You know, you have a lot of crops. I worked in Arua for 3 years, in 99 up to 2000 something. Most of the crops, crops, animals, fish comes from Nebbi, Greater region. So Nebbi is the basket, is the food basket of West Nile. And when you are taking these enterprises to the market, the issue of post-harvest management has to be taken seriously. Primary processing and post-harvest management, also do value addition and market access. All this one, we have developed the strategies that we are trying to operationalize to all districts, and all the district DPMOs are aware. They are promoting it, Nebbi inclusive. I must say that
Mr. Yafesi,
yes.
These are very interesting submissions, but before maybe we lose this point, you talked about the gross margins and the menus. So the first concern would be, how are they disseminated to the local person there? Could we have popular versions that are non-technical? Do we have them translated in the local language? Or what's the criteria to which they arrived at? Because in most cases, you find there's a huge difference between figures on paper and what the ordinary farmer down there realizes. So maybe would want to get your view on the criteria to which we arrive at those figures. they're good, but sometimes there's a big differential between figures disseminated from Maif and what the farmer down there gets on the farm. Then also, sometimes they're very technical. They are not in a language that a local person understands. So then thirdly, where are they? We have not seen them. How do we have it reach? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bwana Moderator. The book, as we have just developed it, and it is going to be disseminated through Paris Development Model. You know, Paris Development Model is covering the whole country. Through Paris Development Model, you are going to get all these documents that I'm talking about. And it is not yet translated into the different languages. And also, what we have done is to develop the version for each enterprise for the region, like the Greater Nebbi district. You have for coffee, you have for tea, you're growing, you have fish, fruits and vegetables. All this we have in the book. So it is, it will be disseminated through Paris Development Model. And if you haven't got it, very soon you'll get it. Thank you. And in the book, there is,
the issue of criteria, maybe before I go to the last question for now. How do you arrive at those figures? Like, I came across some figures, especially on poultry. They seem so good to be true. So maybe you could also clarify, how do we arrive at those figures?
I think when I moderated the figures which you are talking about, mostly the most important figures, areas of figures in that book is cost, calculating the cost benefit analysis. How you get that this enterprise is fit for Nebbi, is not fit for other areas. So we use figures provided by government documents, like a figure from UBOS and also figures from our in-house here. And you know, it's a living document. I can't say that these figures are accurate, and you know, those figures, prices, for example, keep changing. Price today is different from price. Like, for example, what they're buying maize now, maize, the price is now 900, 1,000 per kilo. But after 1 month, you find that maybe it is 1,500 per kilo, or next year. So we are going to be updating. It's a living document. We are going to be updating some of these figures yearly. So
thank you.
Yes.
As we go to the next panelist, maybe I would want to bring this burning one. You know, researchers pointed out positive relationship between existing infrastructure in terms of roads, access, and market performance of any agricultural commodity worldwide. So you have laid out good strategies regarding increasing productivity and agribusiness in its full sense. So the question would be, what are some of those strategic or intervention areas as a ministry in charge of agribusiness that you could put in place to ensure that a farmer down there in Adiadori in Zombo, down there in the deepest part of Wadlai, transports their commodity to the market without serious hurdle?
Yes, Bwana Moderator, if I got you rightly, there's a high correlation between the production and the market. This one, the minister has seen it. We are not sleeping. And we are working, you know, now we are working, we are not working alone. Like the Minister of Agriculture, we work together with Minister of Water, and also at times even Minister of Transport. For example, I'm answering this one with an example. There's a project that we are closing this year. The project is called Agricultural Cluster Development Project. This project, we are handling 5 enterprises. Coffee is in Zombo. Coffee, cassava, beans, rice, and maize. So almost all of this one can be accommodated in Zombo. What we have done in this project is this. We are trying to increase production and productivity. we have given all those chemicals which we are talking about at a subsidized rate to farmers. That is agribusiness. We are also trying to see that this product, after being produced, should reach the market. How? We have to add value. We have given processing facilities in Nebbi, in Pakwach, to process coffee, to process cassava, so that what is reaching the market can be of benefit to the farmers. And how do these products reach the market? The project also gone ahead by working on road chokes, eliminating the road chokes between the production area to the bulking center, stroke the market. This one we have also done it in the Nebbi district in Pakwach. The project covers Nebbi in Pakwach in cluster 12. This one we have done is across the value chain, which you talked about. When we are talking production and productivity, you have to see that there is a research, enterprise selection, and then use of chemicals, all this. So in order to realize bigger products, large volume of products, we have to now use some of those inputs which we are talking about. No, without inputs, agriculture is becoming very tricky. Can I finish?
Okay.
Production and productivity, value addition and market access, and also we have done with the connecting the production areas to the market. That is a good business. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe I could ask, have you been to Nebbi, to the remote parts of Nebbi?
I've been to Nebbi where we are doing our programs. For example, I went to, this Nebbi, this group who are processing cassava, and that cassava is accessing Sudan, South Sudan, Congo, and the domestic market. They are producing good quality of cassava. I'm forgetting that, sorry, if you can give me, and also there is a farm organization also producing cassava and also rice. Rice.
You know, why I'm asking like that is that sometimes we're overwhelmed by the bad conditions of the road, and that affects the smooth movement of the commodity. Maybe we shall come back to that. Thank you so much for your.
But I can answer that. Wonderful. I can answer that. As a MAIF, you know, the issue of road is not our mandate, but we work with Ministry of Works and Transport to see to it that farmers' products reach the market. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for the wonderful submissions. So up next, going to Mr. Felix. What's the status of agribusiness in Greater Nebbi? To begin with.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, moderator. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome everybody to this important discussion. As a district, as a Greater Nebbi, and as government, I think the number of interventions in the district that are being implemented currently, right from Pakwach up to the Greater Zombo. And these are being implemented through a number of interventions, the projects. We have the ACDP, my colleague has been talking of. We have the FIFO, Farm Income Enforcement and Forestry Conservation Project. We also work in collaboration with other development partners. So when we look at the Greater Nebbi, I think we have a number of opportunities. We also have some special enterprises, like the rice in particular, where we deal along the entire value chain. In this case, we have the area cooperative enterprises in Wadlai, Panyemur, where they have production along the entire value chain, marketing. Then of late, you also have the ACDP groups, Bongo Women Group, that is directly involved in the production of high quality cassava chips at better prices in Pakwach. In Nebbi, you also have a Ratarash group, that has predominantly been also involved in the production of the high quality cassava sheets. In Zombo, we also have the Ukuru Coffee Union and a number of other interventions. We also have the development partners.
Mr. Felix, if you were asked to mention two low-hanging fruits, two very important potential that we have in Greater Nebbi, what are they? You're mentioning a number, but what are those? Yeah.
Okay, the potential opportunities.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we look at the Greater Nebbi, we actually classified according to the agroecological conditions. We have the Zombo, which is on a higher altitude than the other part of Nebbi, the Urusi area, and the other part of Nebbi and the lower belt. So I'll bring out opportunities that suit both areas. For the upper part of the district, we have coffee, which is a potential opportunity with a readily available market, ever-growing market, both local and international. Then for the lower belt, we have fish as a commodity, which we are all aware of. The current production is far much low compared to the international market. So what we are doing as a district, as a region, what we can tap into, for the lower belt, we are going into the cage fish technology. As you know, for it has a very high stocking density. This one was experimented in Pakwash area. The returns were so enormous that already some farmers are already going into. Then you also have the fish tank technology, whereby if you don't want to go into the water system, into the water, you can simply provide some temporary structure in form of a tank where you could store your fish through intensive care, you manage, and the waste can be used for growing with vegetables through an integrated approach. So it is an opportunity that we're adopting. Then Onang that the previous speaker, the Assistant Commissioner talked of. In Pakwash, we are trying to look at, we are trying to lobby for some funds to establish a smaller factory that can be able to process, and then where possibly even export the Onang to the world market. But the challenge is the demand for Nang is too high that the factory may not even be able to have what to process and eventually export. So that is actually calling for a further research to see how we can improve on the productivity and the production of the current Nang we have. And looking at Zombo, unfortunately in Zombo, we don't have a CDP that is promoting the production and productivity of some of these enterprises. However, it is in Nebbi. Though it is not in Zombo, we already have the extension, agricultural extension system through the agricultural extension grant, whereby coffee as a commodity can be taken as a special commodity, special interventions be done to improve on the productivity, the production, and even improve on the quality of the coffee that is produced in order to meet the market. I think as you are aware, most times here, we have not been exporting the coffee. Most of our coffee has been taken in form of ashman to Mbale region, where they blend it with their coffee and then they export it as Mbale coffee, which is an opportunity that we can venture into. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Felix. Now that we have taken the direction of knowledge transfer, you know, knowledge is very critical, especially to the farmer, because they have to make decisions in the production, what to produce, where, when, and for whom. But again, at the same time, studies have shown that the ratio of the extension worker, the people whom you lead at the district, the extension workers, to farmers is so high, estimated nationally at 1 to 5,000, as opposed to the one recommended by Food and Agriculture Organization, or the ratio of 1 to 500. Meaning one farmer, one extension worker is supposed to meet very many people, and sometimes it's hard to interface the farmer. But also, it's shown that women have less access to agriculture extension compared to men. From your experience, How valid is that point in Greater Nebbi?
Yeah, thank you so much. What you have just explained is very true. We have the ratio of extension workers to farmers is quite very high. And this varies from district to district. The case of Zombo and Nebbi, they are fairly placed, but for Pakwach it is even worse because the ratio is quite high, much higher than the rest of the districts. In the department, we have only 21 staff out of 75 staff. You find one extension worker running 3 lower local governments. Definitely you can't be visible on ground and you reach everywhere. However, since the recruitment of extension workers is the mandate of the ministry, that has been pushed and it is going to be addressed in the near future. But for the time being, what we are trying to do, we are trying to reach more farmers. We have developed a collaborative working mechanism through the development partners in the district. We're also trying to work with some of the community-based facilitators that we try to reach a same common understanding with them at the community level so that they're able to reach more farmers. We are also trying to reach more farmers through the farmer field school approach, whereby you train a particular farmer and then the knowledge transfer is replicated through the fellow farmers in form of a demonstration, focused group discussion, and also trying to establish demo, result-oriented demonstration. So in such a way, you find the knowledge transfer is relatively higher. And also we're trying to create awareness through radio talk shows. So once farmers get to know, are empowered on what they want, then it becomes easier for them to follow the extension services, the extension workers to seek for knowledge. Instead of the extension workers going to move everywhere to look for the farmers. In such a way, they get overwhelmed and eventually we crash down. So we're optimistic this will be addressed sooner. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe quickly, in just a sentence or two, I would like you to give us ways through which you could overcome land fragmentation. It is something that is deeply embedded in our systems. We like working on small pieces of land. That affects productivity, that affects outcome, and it affects our business mindedness. So as someone who has worked with farmers, how best can we have that sorted so that we are able to produce for business?
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian. As you know, land fragmentation has been right from the time of memorial. And this has simply been because of our culture. And changing a culture overnight is not something easy. Unlike in other regions of the country where they also have their culture, they settle along particular settlements. In the case of our region, I think for now, what we can do, because there is no, at the moment, we don't have a clear policy on consolidation of land. What we're instead trying to do is to encourage people not to scatter all over the place, to settle all over the place, at least go to settle in particular sections of the land so that they leave the rest of the farming land to be consolidated for farming, though under different ownership. And also what we are trying to do at the moment is to avoid encourage people to avoid the scenario of going to buy different small fragmented holdings. Because if you have 2 acres here, instead of spending that money to go and buy more land, 20 acres, 10 miles away from here, you rather keep that money and keep on convincing the neighborhood around you, so that in case they want to sell, they give it to you, then you consolidate it onto your land. Otherwise, for now, it is a little bit complicated and complex because there is no policy that can address that issue. And of course, it needs the interventions of everybody, the cultural leaders, the other development partners, government as well, to talk to people in order to maybe change the mindset. Through this, I think you can be able to achieve in future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, implying we need some deliberate actions and multi-stakeholder engagement as far as that is concerned. So I welcome Grace to the discussion. Madam Grace, you're most welcome. Can you hear me? Hello. Frank, she's not on, I think. Maybe as she
has muted her mic, maybe we should tell her.
Maybe she can unmute.
Yeah.
Madam Grace, you can unmute. Maybe as she is getting settled, I could start with Dr. Osborne from Shida na Kazi. Shida za Kazi Zombo. Are you there?
Yeah. Brian, I'm around.
Oh, okay, you're around. You're most welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, we introduced you in your absentia, so everyone knows you. So don't worry, we shall go straight to the question.
All right.
Yeah. So we would like to get your insights on how it is like running a mixed farm, because from our discussion, you told me you're running quite a number of enterprises, not less than 5 at least. So what are those enterprises and how do they complement each other? What are some of the advantages you obtained from that? And what are some of the challenges?
Thank you, Brian. I'm called Coach Grace, CEO of Pola Farm, Pola Mixed Farm, which is located in Nebbi District, in Kalwang Parish, Nebbi Sub-County. I will go straight to the issue that you raised. Yes, indeed, I am running more than 5 enterprises. And someone would wonder, how does it happen? I want to say that not all these things started at a go. At the conception, it was actually one activity, which was planting of trees, both non-fruit trees and fruit trees. From there, I realized that I need to maintain the trees. So the only way we could do it in a less costly way was to plant some crops under the trees, because by that time we're not they are yet young, you're not making anything. So that's when the crops come in to maintain the trees. And we're doing mainly cereals. And then later, I realized the work is not much. I started admiring other people rearing pigs. And that's when I brought in the... Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, yes. Someone
Yes,
should, Brian should mute.
Okay.
That's when the idea, because now I was looking at here, I've planted.
Oh, we are losing you. We've lost Grace. Maybe as she gets back, I could, Mr. Guang, are you there? Before I go to Dr. Osborne, I would first ask Mr. Ogwang Yafesi.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, nice. So we have a place called Nyaravur and the surrounding areas that produce a lot of mangoes, and sometimes they're wasted on the roadside. So I'm wondering what it will take to have an agribusiness facility that adds value to that. What could be the feasibility of having a value addition facility to take advantage of that free raw material? Thank you.
Well, mangoes is very good.
Mangoes. Yeah.
If you come to Kampala, we are importing mangoes from Kenya. Are you aware of this? One depends on the quality which is produced there. 2, the one which is if you go to our markets, just take a bit of time and go to our market. Like here in Kampala, if you go to Nakasero, you get a local mango and mango imported from Kenya. One, the packaging is so good, but our local mango, at times you get them on a wheelbarrow, being sold on a wheelbarrow. So which one is more marketable than the other one? So what I'm trying to say here is, one, depends on the quality. I don't know which quality you're producing there. I mean, the type of mango you are producing there. When you want to access the market, there's so many other things. There's domestic, yes, there's domestic and regional market. Why are we importing mangoes from Kenya? Because they have seen that there's a market here, there's a demand here. So if we can, package it well, and then sell domestically and even regionally, that's number one. Number two, we can go processing. Processing, there is, our structures goes up to the sub-county, up to the district. There's NADS and Operation Wealth Creation that gave a lot of processing facilities to farmer organizations. Another thing which you have to do, those farmer organizations, any enterprise that you are dealing with, not only man, form a group, farmer group that can go up to cooperative level, be registered, be recognized by the sub-county, be recognized by the district, so that you can benefit from either government programs or even NGOs, so that you work as a group. Government assists group, not one single people passion, so that the door can be open to you. You can either go processing, you can sell, you can processing, you can dry, you can get those other products. So many products out of mango. So my only advice is, let them form a group, liaise with our extension or our people at the sub-county or at the district, give them proper advice in agribusiness, and then they go forward. Not only on mango, on all the other enterprises. On all these other enterprises, if you are in a group, accessing you is simple, working with you is simple. See what ACDP has done. My colleague Felix has talked about it. We have formed cooperative, and those farm organizations are now benefiting, like the one in Nebbi, processing cassava. They are exporting to South Sudan and Congo. They're in business. Those people doing rice, because they have been trained, a lot of capacity building given to them, and they're doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. But also, there are cases whereby, I think based on sectors like yours, they produce evidence that will attract investment. A case in point is the Teso Juice, and then there's an investment in northern Uganda, I think at the Share factory. So that gave me a background to that. I was wondering, now here we have the already existing raw material. Maybe what is missing, a touch of the technicality. But maybe not to drag us back to that. Another issue is about you talked about groups and how people can transact or be assisted in groups. There used to be the warehouse receipt system. So what happened? Where did it go?
I think the best people to talk about warehouse receipt system is means of trade, but means of trade and industries and cooperatives. That is fall under their mandate. But for us in the agribusiness, or some of these farm organizations that are producing maybe maize, we advise them to go through the receipt system. The receipt system is very good. Even, remember, let's go back a bit. When our forefathers and our fathers was growing cotton, warehouse receipt system is a very simple system. But they could grow cotton, take to a primary society. They are given a receipt. And that receipt, during those days, they can show it to the headmaster of the school, and their children could study. Once they are paid from the sales of cotton, then they come and pay the school fees for the children. That is the whole system of the warehouse systems which we are talking about. And that one can be done when farmers are organized in a cooperative, a big cooperative. See what is now happening in other areas, like in Western Uganda. They form a big cooperative for milk. They just milk. They take the milk to the cooler and the cooling centers. They get the money at the end of the month. Monthly, they're being paid. That is the whole system of the world. And it can be done. It can be done. Well-organized farm organizations can do it. And it is happening in other areas, Usoga, which we have formed huge cooperatives that are doing this. Thank you.
Maybe lastly, before I get you back again, it's about the agricultural credit facility. At its inception, it was aimed at supporting farmers, large-scale farmers like Grace. So I'm wondering, I'm sure this could be under Bank of Uganda, but you as the champion of agribusiness in the country probably could understand why it is detached from the ordinary farmer. It seems to be so much aligned to some kind of farmers. I've not seen it in the Greater Nebbi. What could be the challenge? The cause for information asymmetry.
Thank you very much for that question. At the ministry, I also am the focal point person for youth programs. We have interacted with so many youth. They wanted money. They were lacking funding for their enterprises. So what we have done is, to one of the where they can get money is African. Is the ACF Agricultural Credit Facility. This credit facility is under Bank of Uganda, but Bank of Uganda challenged it to commercial banks like Sanitary Bank, like Stanbic, like this other Equity Bank. They have agricultural credit facility, but these facilities was not known to the public. What we have done as MAIF through this project, which we are calling ACDP, there's something which we call productive alliance. Productive alliance is when we go to a district like Nebbi or Nebbi Greater Region. We get the banks which are operating there. We get everybody that all the agro inputs. Those people are dealing in agro inputs, chemical seeds, what. We get the farm organizations. All those chain in production, the actors of production. We get them, put them together and say, there is business in agriculture. How can you do business in agriculture? Bank, like Senator Bank, can say, oh, this come. No, we have even Bank of Uganda. Bank of Uganda Center in Arua. We invite a person from Bank of Uganda Center in the currency center in Arua to come and explain to the people. They came, Bank of Uganda came. Where we have gone to Nyoro region, we have gone to northern region, Lao Chab region, we are in eastern Uganda. I don't know if we are coming to West, we have come to West Nile. So there is business in agriculture. And banks have seen that there is business in agriculture. They can get this money from ACF, they give the people who are dealing in inputs, they order their products from out, they pay, they can get farmers that are organized, bigger cooperative can get money through ACF because the interest rate is low. And all those production, even those people who are processing, if you are lacking parts of the machinery, you can get the money from the bank. So this is business. So we have made aware of ACF. Not just there was a problem. There was a big problem that some of these banks, instead of lending this money ACF, they first lend theirs. They make sure theirs is all thing, then they start on ACF. We have known this. So we told them, please, this is government facility. Why are you hiding it? Open it to public so that everybody can benefit. Where we have gone, farmers are benefiting. Everybody is now doing business. Thank you.
Thank you so much for unveiling that opportunity. I'm glad farmers have logged on and taking notes of some of those things. Information asymmetry is very dangerous. So, Grace, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so sorry, I need to cut you off. You are still telling us how the new enterprises complement each other. Maybe you can summarize with that, then we proceed.
Are you getting me?
Yeah, clear.
Yes, okay. I was saying that not all the enterprises came at once. They were coming one after another for sustainability, because you cannot, like for where we started with trees. We couldn't rely on trees to sustain the farm up to where it is. But we have different enterprises that are there. But I want to come to some of the challenges that we are facing. I heard you talk about.
Mention them before the challenges.
Yes,
mention the enterprises maybe, and the leading ones by criteria that you want. Maybe profitability, maybe demand.
Yes,
then you go to the challenges.
We are doing apiary farming, and then we are doing goats rearing. I do piggery, and then mainly now I've narrowed on watermelon and cassava growing at this moment. We also do fishing. We have fish ponds. So those are the basic that we do there.
Yeah. So which one is the major?
So, and then currently the mega one is the goats rearing. Of course, the trees are there. I'm looking at what brings money now. Yes, but what brings money now? The piggery, the goats, and growing of watermelon and cassava.
Okay. So maybe
for the fish, for the fish pond, we are yet to harvest to see the fruit. Because we started last year. It's still one of the youngest in the farm. But I wanted to not only to go straight to the challenges. I wanted to look at the opportunities that agriculture poses to us, the youth. In most cases, we are leaving what is available and running for what we don't have. Because for what I know, that agriculture could be one of the areas that could solve our issue of unemployment. Brian, can you imagine at this time, we are still bringing tomatoes from out to Nebbi?
Yeah.
Yes, we are still bringing the basic foods from out to our market. Now imagine if all of us, or the biggest percentage of us within Nebbi there, the youth, could engage in some of these things. Don't you think we would be somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes, for me, I feel we have the opportunity. It's still a virgin place in terms of agriculture that we need to embrace. Not only the youth, even the elderly. Because maybe when the youth see that the elderly are benefiting, they can get attracted to this. So that aside, I can bring some of the challenges, but these challenges do not derail someone from starting agriculture. For instance, I'm talking about the issue of market. Now, the market is there, but sometimes how we access it is the issue. Just you've talked about the information that we lack as farmers sometimes about the market availability. Make our things get spoiled, make us dump our things because we don't know where actually the market is. And then issue of extension services, the support. For sure, the support is there, but it is not adequate, as you said, to all the farmers. I don't think even some farmers know about these extensions, coupled with inadequate sensitization, lack of information. Some farmers are there, but they are not getting these extension services, except for a few that who are maybe having connections with some of these staff, but majority lack. Actually, they even don't know what to do. So there is still need for more participation of these extension workers to reach the farmers. And then another issue, of course, now we are dealing with the climatic issues. These are issues beyond our control, but we always have to find a way of going through them. There are issues of irrigation. It is something for a small farmer may not have it immediately. So, but those are the issues that affect us. And then even there are some deliberate actions by government that should reach farmers. And then you wonder where they end. They never reach the farmers. For me, I have always believed if we can target some few farmers who have gone somewhere, we empower them. Just like someone was saying, like to be lead farmers in a community. And then from that farmer, you get the other farmers are learning, are also benefiting. But if we take everyone at the same pace, sometimes it becomes hard because the center of focus become huge for government to deliver actually what they want to do. And yet if they could target some people and people learn from them, people get knowledge from there within a community. But I also want to look at the advantage. You're wondering why we are doing this, but mainly for sustainability. And now for me, I have gone into agriculture as my livelihood. So I try to see that it works. And from this, because the pigs give me manure I use under the crops. And then we are getting feeds we are getting the droppings of chicken to help make feeds. All this.
Hello? Grace, I've lost you. Hello. I think we've lost Grace as she gets back. I had some follow-up questions for her, but we could go to Dr. Osborne. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Brian.
Oh, nice. Good to have you. So you're representing Shida za kazi, si Shida na kazi?
It's Shida na kazi.
Shida na kazi.
Yeah.
So basically, you could start by telling us what you're doing practically in Zombo. Then I could have some questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Osborne Yiroth, alongside being the farm veterinarian for Shida na kazi. I also work as one of the managers in Shida na kazi. Now at Shida na kazi, majorly we are focusing on income generating projects. And our focus is money, because whatever we do, we see how much is it generating for us. One of the projects that we are engaging in is poultry production, which we do on large scale, and majorly our focus is on broilers and croilers. Then we also have piggery, horticulture, and horticulture we're going, at first we started the traditional way, but right now we have gone the other way where now we're engaging more into greenhouse production of majorly tomatoes. And we also have an agro shop. Now, since we're engaging in the horticulture production, we don't want to be going to people's shop to buy the seeds. That's why we opened that agro shop, and it's supporting in all ways. And we saw in all those, because at first we started with poultry and piggery, our biggest challenge was transportation. Then we said, how do we help ourselves to see that these things are transported very well? And we know poultry and pigs, the biggest part of it is feeding. And considering either production of feeds for those animals is not all that okay. So we said transportation would work other than hiring people's vehicle. That's why we ended up also in transportation business. So we have vehicles that can be hired. And majorly, like right now, the major focus is on horticulture. Even though we are doing poultry and piggery, but like for the poultry, we are focusing on the season. For example, when talk of season, we take, for example, the Easter season, the Christmas season, those ones we are producing for that. But horticulture, where we have greens coming in from the garden, that one is very continuous. And one of the panelists said that currently Nebbi is importing tomatoes from other parts of the country. So we have really engaged in tomato production and cabbage production. And that is currently what we're doing to a larger extent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe the quick one is, as far as feed mixing is concerned, of course, we know feed constitute over 70% of the costs, the current costs in any livestock enterprise, be it fish, be it cattle, be it piggery. So why is it that in Greater Nebbi, most farmers, poultry farmers, piggery farmers have failed to adopt on-farm feed mixing?
Thank you so much, moderator. In feed formulation, what is needed most is a carbohydrate component of the feed. Now, it implies that maize production has to be to a larger extent, which has failed. This is what I should say. Of course, now it's very rare for people within the entire West Nile to dig like 2 or 3 acres to only plant maize. Others see it as a waste of time, as something they will not get much from it. Like as we're also going, because we said since the major focus is on those 2 enterprises, the feeding aspect, we are seeing what we can do to really get to engage so much into the feed production, and that one can only be achieved when we plant those energy-giving crops on large scale. And planting on large scale, majorly the focus will be on maize. And as you know, we are getting maize bran, we are getting the broken from the maize that we plant. And once we do that, then we shall be able to engage in that. Like I said at first, that when we're doing these things, the focus should be on who are going to use it. We are talking of farmers being many, but who are the consumers? Now we're seeing farmers, these things to other people that are keeping it. You find somebody saying, I have poultry, but when you visit the poultry farm, or the place where the person is keeping his or her own chicken, you'll find they are between 5 and 10. Now, when you see to that, even if the feed mixing business is introduced, somebody will just have it there, and you find somebody is coming to the shop, I need half a kilo, I need 1 kilo. I've ever stayed by and also in the shop, you find people coming for the feeds. But the highest number of kilograms or the quantity somebody would ask for would be 10. Now, when you look at that business, I would say first thing the farmers must accept to keep things on a large scale. For us, what we know is that once I have 1 or 2, the person considers that for me, I have that. A person has 2, 3 pigs, the person will move up and down saying, I have a lot of pigs. And yet when you look at the management system, really the person is even failing to manage. And people end up moving to those hotels looking for remains of food to give to those pigs and also the chicken. So the biggest challenge right now, moderator, would be what quantity are the farmers keeping? Because the quantity will dictate on whether the feed mixing machine can be introduced, or the feed supply shops can be opened. Because without that, you'll find out you can open that business, you end up utilizing everything by yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So in line with that, could you be having maybe farmers or members of your fraternity who are into some good practices or mixing? For example, when you move to some parts of Wakiso, Western Uganda, you find farmers are now using black soldier, flies, earthworms, indigenous microorganisms. So could you be having within your network some farmers who can be used as good examples, good practices, role models?
Okay, thank you so much. Me personally, I practice also within Central Uganda, and I have several farmers I deal with. And you find when you go to large farms, like you have farms within Zirobwe, also some good farms within Wakiso and areas of Mukono. Now, those are the people we can collaborate with, because we can share ideas with them, we move to them, we see how they do things and how it's working for them. Issues of indigenous microorganism, several people have come up with this. But now the whole thing in Uganda is, we focus, if something is coming out, what we should consider is what is its quality. Because if something is not tested, then we are not sure of the results it's going to give.
Maybe you could break down, Dr. Osborne, maybe you could break down IMO to them from our listeners. What is indigenous microorganisms and what is it made up from? Made up of?
Now, thank you. Now, indigenous IMO is simply indigenous microorganisms, meaning these are microorganisms that will aid in the breakdown of, for example, we take you are engaging in poultry production and also piggery production. You want to promote the hygiene and also focus on the warm aspects of your animals. Then the best way to go with is the use of IMO. Now, which this IMO, we can also make it locally. Like personally, myself, I know of a young man in that area between Goli and Paida. He's capable to make this indigenous microorganism at a lower rate to our farmers. Because one thing is that once you have these indigenous microorganisms in your poultry or piggery unit, one thing, the issue of the smell, the bad smell will be gone. The indigenous microorganism will break down the fecal content, dissolving it in such a way that the smell does not come out. And also the manure that is going to come out from these animals will not have that nasty smell that you don't want to smell. Because many times you go to the farm is smelling terribly, and you ask yourself, what are they using? Now, the use of the indigenous microorganism will be very key in that. And this one is very simple because our farmers can also be trained. There are materials that can be used locally. For example, we have sweet potato, which is in abundance. And you know how people of West Nile, once the sweet potatoes is in abundance, there is a name they give to the sweet potatoes. It remains unutilized. Sweet potato is there. We have the maize bran, which we can also get. Then we can do all those things. The entire process is a fermentation process, on which it doesn't take time for somebody to be trained to do that personally. If the person cannot afford to buy those ones which are originally on the market, but also that those which are on the market, they're existing on the market, we can use that, and we can incorporate this use of indigenous microorganisms when we are keeping these animals to help curb issues of smell, issues of worms in our animals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. One last one for you. A few days back, we saw the statistics clearly that over 65% of youth in Zombo are not read and write. It was not very clear whether that's English or national. So, as a young person as well, do you think that has impact on the future of agribusiness in Greater Nebbi? Bearing in mind that we have to keep records as A good farmer has to keep records. What do you, in just a sentence or two, in just a few seconds, you can make meaning of that, since you work closely with them?
Thank you so much, moderator. Yeah, that's a very big challenge. Now, the future of this country lies in the hands of the youth. Now, and we know that even the Bible says that my people are dying because of lack of knowledge. You cannot engage into something which you don't have any knowledge about. And that is the biggest thing killing our youth of Pakwach, Zombo, and Nebbi. We're all aware in the morning you wake up as you're driving maybe to Faida, the first people you'll meet on the way are the youth just seated along the roadside. And that is very key. Youths have failed to engage into issues of agriculture. If you tell somebody that at least the person should involve him or herself in agriculture, to our youth, it's like an insult. Now, unless these youths change their mindset, then issues of agribusiness is still a challenge. Because as we're talking about agribusiness, the first thing is the person must be engaged in an agricultural activity. So if the youths are not engaged in agricultural activity, so issues of agribusiness is at stake. Because without the agriculture, there's no agribusiness. There should be
Thank you so much.
change.
We shall come back to that as we do a way forward for the Greater Nebbi region. Thank you so much. So it's clear that literacy is very key in supporting agribusiness. So I'm back to Mr. Ogwang. Are you there, sir?
Present, sir.
You have made me think, I had not planned for you. You came in, so you have made my brain to think very well now. So I have something for you here. Agribusiness involves transaction and a lot of procedures, and somewhere actors within the value chain are experiencing taxation in some forms, and then issues of trading permits, the different nodes of the chain. So the question could be, are there some considerations at strategic level in lessening the burden to the ordinary farmer? The tax burden and the issues of trading permits, which increase the transaction costs.
Bwana moderator, what I can say only is that the other agricultural product, agricultural tools, when you import, it is tax exempted. Most
Mr. Guang, we have lost you.
Most of the agricultural equipments and tools imported into the country is tax-free. That's the only thing I know about the issue of tax. But internally, when you are doing any business, you don't escape from tax internally. That one is very well. Thank you.
That is as precise and clear to the point. So maybe you could, in the future, probably have a schedule which ones are tax-free and which ones are taxed. Also, sometimes there are good initiatives that come from the ministry. Like, for example, recent, some tractors were procured. And when I read the headline, personally, I was happy that some would be allocated. So maybe a question could be, what are some of the criteria in distribution of that kind of consignment of tractors, bearing in mind that mechanized agriculture is the way to go?
This one, Bwana moderator, if you listen to me carefully, I say, when you want to benefit from government services, normally, for us in the agricultural sector, what we have been telling farm organizations is that you form a big group like cooperative. This is not the first time the ministry is giving tractors to farm organizations through NADS. You remember, that is what NADS has been doing. NADS has been doing two things. One, somebody talked of lead farmer. NADS has also been giving lead farmers assistance. And also Ministry of Agriculture gives a lot of assistance to big farm organizations that are registered within the district or in sub-counties. And so many of these things is going on now through PDM. PDM model works through groups. And capacity building is going throughout all over the country, advising farmers to form groups, smaller groups, join it, bigger groups to form cooperatives, so that you can, not only tractors, you can benefit of any input, agricultural inputs. Others at subsidized rate, like for us, what we have been doing in the CDP, we are doing tractor hire services. That's what we did in the whole of West Nile South region. We are doing tractor hire services to farm organizations. But as government, they give most of these facilities to farm organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That you...
Yes, you were supplementing.
Big farmer organizations or cooperative in order to access services.
So the bottom line is better organized, better recognized. Then also there are many youth on the call. In fact, that was the target audience. I'm glad we have seniors as well on board. So a quick question would be, how do we make the young people, whom according to statistics show that they form a majority of our population, so how do we make them interested in agribusiness for employment and the livelihood or wealth creation? At your angle of your mandate, what could be those quick things?
What we did for the youth, Bwana Moderator, I told you also I represent youth interest in the ministry. Quickly, what we did for the youth, one, around 2017, we developed a strategy. It's called National Strategy for Youth Employment in Agriculture. The strategy that we try to operationalize through the district and also try to disseminate the booklet through the district, and it had gone to several districts. There are a number of issues that were considered in that strategy. One of them, which we did with FAO, is we selected youth champions from all over the country, at least 2 per district, maybe inclusive. I'm forgetting a youth champion, maybe he's also listening now. A youth champion from Nebbi, greater sub-region. So we selected 2. We developed a criteria, of course, for selection through the district and sub-counties. They applied and we selected 2 per district. And these youth, we invited all of them at the center here. We trained them in agribusiness. We trained them in institutional development. This was the second round now. The first round we did about 100 youth. We trained them both in the country, and we sent about 4 of them to Benin to do integrated farming, to learn about integrated farming, which my sister Grace, I'm very happy what she's doing. Actually, Madam Grace is doing something very good to promote agribusiness within Nebbi sub-region. That farm, I'm forgetting the name, a number of youth can be invited to go and see what is happening there. In a sense, doing that will also build their confidence and also work on their mindset. The major big problem affecting the youth is the mindset. Somebody talked about most of these enterprises, even low-hanging fruits, which are talking about fruits and vegetables. How much is going to South Sudan? Lorries come as far as Bukidi Elgon sub-region, pass through Taiso sub-region, Lango sub-region, Acholi sub-region, Greater West Nile, goes going to, and we are seeing. We are on the road seeing. It's a big, and I'm really very happy with what Nebbi is doing. This is the way to go. This champion, we train them, we disperse them, they went to their locality. They are training so many youth. They themselves, it's happening in Kibale, it's happening in Lira, everywhere. And when they are trained, somebody talked about it, they can access. So many of them have access ACDP. You go to a place like Kwania, you find a youth group processing maize. They are benefited. So this is what we have done. But due to lack of fund, we could not operationalize everything in the strategy. Right now, we are also collaborating with the AVC. You know AVC?
Yes.
They go, they go to schools, build the capacity of youth. Because some of these youth, even after finishing high school, don't know nothing. O level, don't know that. Some people think everything is got from the supermarket. They don't know. Agriculture is very, somebody said that where there's agriculture, there's agribusiness. Let us do agriculture as a business. So that's what we are trying to do. We are now talking to AVC. If you give us a system, we are going to roll out this strategy all over the country and get the youth exactly what we have been doing with FAO. We are going to do with AVC, and we make our presence felt. Thank you.
Maybe another one would be, other than the SCF and PDM, what are some of those running projects that are targeting young people or targeting agribusiness as far as Greater Nebbi is concerned, bearing in mind that some projects find, the target population sometimes differ. So what are those specific ones that are either in the whole country or at least being operated in Greater Nebbi?
One, the enterprises that we have selected for Nebbi. You have already talked about them. I saw the theme of the invitation. There is coffee there, there is fish there, there's what again?
Coffee,
Nebbi
fish.
can do very well in fruits and vegetables. All this. So what I can say, youth, all youth issues are handled by means of gender, labor, and social development. I was also one of the committee member on Youth Livelihood Program. Do you know that this program, YLP, covered the whole country, and over 60% of the enterprises of what youth are doing was agriculture. So what I'm saying is, it's not only means of agriculture. There are so many programs that goes up to the lower level, sub-counties. Youth has to position themselves strategically. They have to look for information. Don't just sit idle there. There are so many programs, not only from MAIF, programs coming from Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Agriculture, all challenge to the district. And also get interested in PDM. PDM is almost covering everything. So get to know some of this information, have yourself into some of those groups, do agriculture as a business. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In fact, I've been in box that we need a full presentation from you, the upcoming series of this discussion. So please don't hesitate to come back because I've tickled the discussion.
If you invite me earlier, I will be available. This one, I knew it through your sister, Irene. Irene is one of our officers, one sister here. In the planning department. He told me, Mr. Guang. Otherwise, I have here all my team. I have here Abdu, who is a senior agribusiness officer, is in attendance. I have here Prosi, he's also in attendance. So we are a big team. And then Irene, we are about 4 or 5 people from the ministry today.
We're glad.
Mind you, you are starting, and now 5 people. As we
That's a good
continue,
one.
the number will grow. And I'm really very happy for what you are doing. This one alone involves so many youth. Through the youth champion, we have our champion in Pakwach, Nebbi, and Zombo. Through them, all the youth informations they have, they know how to access finance from where, markets, all they were trained. I think they would be very important in some of these meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So maybe as an announcement to the audience, if you have some questions, you can be typing them in the chat box, or I'll open the audio channel at exactly 5 so that we ask questions for some 10 minutes before we log out, because we delayed for 10 minutes. So I go again to Mr. Felix. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Oh, I would like to understand the potential of stable electricity in Greater Nebbi as far as the agribusiness equation is concerned.
Okay, thank you so much. Though the question to do with electricity would be directed to the right person, because that one doesn't fall directly under our mandate. However,
No. I'm looking at you as a user of electricity, value addition. I'm not asking you to give us power. I'm saying,
okay, yeah.
How would a farmer benefit from stable electricity?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
Already, as a district and districts from the Greater Nebbi, through a number of government interventions, there are some value added technologies that we are trying to introduce through the Enable Youth Program under FIFOC, which is a program promoting the construction of the irrigation scheme in Wadlai, where farmers, some selected youths have been trained on how to process the wines from the vegetable products, like the vegetables like watermelon, and for making jam from the tomatoes and a number of other products. So these people have fallen into two categories. There are those within the town settings where there's electricity, and the people that fall outside the grid where there's no electricity. So what we're trying to encourage people to do is to use the other source of energy, like the solar energy. And in some extreme cases, they're using the generators, which is not relatively cost effective. But what I would encourage people to do for sustainability of businesses, I think it is good to shift to where there's electricity. But otherwise, the current electricity distribution in the region is not so good to promote the value addition technologies. But all the same, you can relocate to where we can access if you cannot afford the other options. Thank you.
Thank you. If you were to highlight some few products that have a potential for value addition, what could be the products other than wine? I see wine is very common. Other than wine, what else is that hot cake in the region?
Yeah, thank you so much. Of late, as you remember, cassava has been a cash crop, food security crop. Of late, is a potential cash crop through some of the interventions like ACDP. We're able to produce high quality cassava flour. The case of a Bongo Women Group in Pakwash, they are already looking at going to the next stage of processing bread from the high quality cassava flour, which is a potential opportunity. For fish products, we are looking at packaging the onang nang, possibly for export, which is in advanced stage. Then for the Zombo area, the people produce, Zombo and part of Nebbi, where coffee is grown, there is a great potential for packaging coffee, and also for coffee tea business, which is a hot selling case in the urban centers, which is not a high venture technology that most people can still go in for. Under entomology, we also have the apiary. As you know, our area is gifted, highly gifted in the production of apiculture, the honey products. As we know, honey has a potential market worldwide, and research has confirmed beyond reasonable doubt that honey from West Nile is of the best quality. That means we have a readily available product. We could start small and eventually scale out to bigger capacity like our neighbor Adra in Madukolo is doing. And this one doesn't require a lot of land. And maybe when we organized through government structures and also other NGO system, farmers can be able to access the value addition, equipment, and other technologies. Then we can also go in for juice, like you rightfully said it. Through OWC, a number of fruit crops have been distributed to farmers. So this would be the time now we could begin to go in for value addition. What we had been lacking initially was the knowledge. Now that we already have some groups, farmers who have been trained, and they're already doing this thing. I think what we need to do is to organize, have exchange visits for farmers to go out to see what is taking place. Because as long as they have not seen, many would not know how these things work. Farmers could go to Grace Farm in Kalwang, in Nebbi to see what they're doing. Others could come, the youths could be involved, be brought to Pakwash to see what is taking place in Abongo, to see a lot of business opportunities. We could go to a number of other groups that are already making the jam from tomatoes, the wine, and so forth. Then we could also be exposed to Adra Agricultural College to see the honey production and other equipment and other byproducts. I think there would be good to go. Thank you.
Maybe one last one for you. Two studies last year from Makerere University produced some results that were unexpected regarding extension. Mr. Guang clearly pointed out that better organized, but the results of the studies indicated that farmers who were in groups actually were making losses compared to farmers who were working independently. That is for cassava. Then for fish and crop enterprises, the study found out that those who are in groups and those who are not in groups, there's no difference actually. So from your practical perspective, what do you think is causing that kind of thing?
Yes, thank you so much. Since it is a study, I don't want to disrepute the study, but from my practical experience, we are actually currently using the group approach to acquire knowledge, because it is easier to train farmers in a group than individual. And it is also easier to pool resources, like what we had been doing for Abongo Women Group in Pakwash. We supported them to acquire their own land registered in their name. But before that, and still up to now, much of the production is done at individual level. However, they have some portion of the land which is managed by the group. Let me say about 30% of what is produced on the farm is for the group, but the 70% of what is produced is managed at individual levels, because these people have individual differences at home. So it is better they use the knowledge which must be replicated into their different home states to address their problems. Though there are some cases where groups have also benefited from the group approach. A case of wildlife, where after producing as a group, marketed, and then the funds are invested into other things, and then the dividend is what is divided to the farmers. So either way, the models can still work. But all this depends on the leadership of the group. where the groups are strong with a clear focus, then they're good to go. But where problems begin to come in a group, then they lose trust in the leadership of the group. Then you find all these misunderstandings begin to come in. So both models can still work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Osborne, are you there?
Yes, I'm still on.
Oh, nice. When you move to western part of the country, there are enterprises among the selling enterprises that side for household income, nutrition, and all that. So why is it that even in areas that would facilitate the enterprise of, dairy cattle in Greater Nebbi, we are doing badly? What could be that burden? The challenge.
Okay, thank you so much. Dairy enterprise itself is so demanding. One, in the management system that you're using, on top of management system, majorly we are trying to see that how really you rear those animals, because that one also will dictate the amount of milk that you will get at the end. Now, I would say some people are trying, but still the management is very poor. Now, issues of, in order for these things to move on very well, one aspect we have to look at is the feeding aspect. And with the feeding, as you know, most people tie their animals, that is a tethering system, which doesn't work well for the dairy animals. Because one thing, you're tying them, the feeding will be very poor. And number two is the treatment aspect. There's poor adaptability of people, especially on the treatment side. Without that, then the dairy sector cannot really come up very well within Zombo and the downer areas of Pakwach and Nebbi. Because one thing is there must be vast land that is for pasture production, because if that doesn't work out, then it's not, it cannot work out. But also one thing I would like to thank the different veterinary officers, that is the district veterinary officers. They did their best. I've been seeing under Operation Wealth Creation, people were also given some dairy animals, even under, I think also nuts, if I'm not mistaken, some people were able to receive dairy animals. Those who managed theirs very well, they still have them up to now. And those ones could be the examples to use to others. But others have been given, and I don't think if the animals are there.
Thank you so much.
It would work. Thank you.
Doctor, time is on not good on our side. Two quick ones is summarized in 1 minute. One, how do we get rid of middlemen as far as agribusiness is concerned? Or how do you try to beat them in your model of Shida na Kazi? Then probably you could also give us your priority agribusiness opportunities in Greater Nebbi. Just quickly.
Thank you so much. One thing is that we don't want somebody to come in between. That's why we have our contacts everywhere. Adverts run and we give out our contacts. If you want anything from us, you call us directly. Issues of people coming between and linking us, that one we don't do it. Another thing is we are paper-based. Anything that we want to do, there must be agreement. And as you know, Shida na Kazi itself doesn't only deal with those things, we also do supplies. So agreement is the key thing. And we deal with the people we are serving directly. Now, the areas for agribusiness in Zombo 1, will be still horticultural production. In the horticultural production, majorly in tomatoes and onions. Those ones will be the potential areas, as well as maize production. Those three would work, and those ones, there's quick money. And also another thing that I would like to tell people is that when you're doing that, the seasonality matters. Anything that you're doing for business, you must see, how do I make this thing work very well? And in what season of the year should I engage in such particular activity? And once you do that, you'll be able to balance that during some period of the year, the things are very few in the market, then they will fetch a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Though you didn't mention the lower belt, but I think it's fine. You're spoken from experience. Grace, are you there? How's the wind up?
Yes, I'm there.
Sorry, network has been on and off. We need to have a training the next session at your farm so that it's more physical. We need to organize a field trip to your farm.
You're most welcome. Yes.
So quickly, do you do some mechanization and irrigation? If so, what are your experiences?
We do mainly drip irrigation. It has been challenging, but it has helped us a lot. We are able to sustain the trees, especially young trees, fruit trees, to grow during the dry season with drip irrigation. And I've noticed most people who get this support, especially from Operation Wealth Creation in terms of seedlings, lose them all during dry season. Why? Because that deliberate effort of keeping it is not there. So we are doing drip irrigation for the time being.
Okay, so the cost versus the value, when you compare, how do they balance?
Of course, the cost benefit, you cannot go into that without benefiting from it. When you look at the irrigation we are practicing, is basically you putting water and putting it under the what? Under the trees or something you want to irrigate. So it's not very, because actually it's what most people could adapt, especially our farmers who are at still a lower level, to sustain what they have planted. For me, I still promote fruit trees, because once you put them there for a long term, meanwhile you can even still practice other farm activities. And then for me, I look at fruit trees, especially for mothers, assuming if someone can have some mango trees and every season they are able to harvest. So still the effort of irrigation should go towards that we shouldn't lose what we have planted. At the end of the day, the benefit will be there.
Thank you. Maybe another quick one would be, how do you handle quality issues? Like, sometimes people get worried with a watermelon on ground that maybe someone has just sprayed it and then is bringing it to the market. Then also, on the side of input, how do you deal with issues of counterfeit inputs? Where do you source your inputs?
Of course, we have some organizations where we believe we have tested their seeds, the seeds they provide, and they have helped us. Of course, the issue of quality starts right from the beginning, and with the issues of seeds, so we are a bit keen. And that's why when I grow my watermelon, you may not have it, it may not be the same with someone else.
Wow.
Yeah, because I am keen on where I get the inputs from. It is unfortunate that all farmers may not have access to this, but we are trying, because for me, I have farmers who come to me and we are moving together. I am getting from them where I'm getting, I'm introducing them, but one effort may not do much, but we try. to ensure that we get quality seeds, to ensure that our products are of quality.
So does the same reciprocate to your output when you're selling? Do you ensure that window period between spraying and selling, take it to the market?
Yes, of course. Okay, we are trying to practice mostly organic farming in my place. And even most of the pesticide we use are those ones that are certified and can go well with humans. So I have not had issues of where maybe customers complain of what we are producing, being it honey or any other thing that we have produced.
Thank you so much. We have some questions in the, I'll read them for you in the chat box. But maybe before I read, there's what we call a nucleus model in agribusiness, whereby you're a large farmer and you work with smaller farmers, for example, to take advantage of a bigger market. In a case in point could be honey. You could be the main supplier, even exporting, since we're talking about organic. So do you see a possibility of empowering the locals in Kalwang there?
Yes.
Outgrow a kind of scheme?
Yes, it is. We have been doing it. We have been doing it for a long time. I support farmers. Now, like right now, they are bringing honey, except that the processing of the honey is done at my place. And then we have a team that maybe when your beehives are ready, they go, you harvest with them together, come to the farm, they process when you're there, and then at the end of the day, measurement is taken, and then they are paid. So we are doing it as far as Kochwin, not only within Kalwang there, as far as Zombo district, people bring.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yes, and also even when we started the issue of planting trees, we were able to give some immediate farmers in the community. Some of them are already harvesting their fruits. Others have non-fruit trees, because whenever I'm planting, I give 10 for one person, except the issue of keeping them is the problem. But they have, for me, I feel the community has benefited. We reached a moment where the wood time when I'm planting is when they are planting. So we would have everything growing almost at the same time. When they see my garden is being opened, they also start opening. And luckily enough, because I was using weather forecast information available, they started believing that maybe I foresee. But we have been helping each other.
Information is power. Andrew, your question was, what kind of relationship does Grace have with other valuation actors downstream and upstream of the enterprise? I feel she has tapped on it. Maybe if there's a specific node she has not tapped, maybe you could raise it. I think for now we can open up to questions now. Do you think she left out something about the relationship? Because she has talked about the fellow farmers, input sourcing, market, some bit of processing.
Brian, maybe, hello?
Yes.
Yes, Brian, maybe one aspect that is still difficult for us is the fruits. I've always envisaged that we process those fruits, but of course, we have not yet reached that capacity. Maybe that's where the farmers see they are helpless, that I am not also helping at that moment, because I cannot buy their fruits, honestly, at this time, until at such a point that we are able to process. For me, I have seen that we have the capability of having a factory within Nebbi for fruits. Whereas someone is saying the quality of our fruits, sometimes the hassle that the fruit leaves your farm to reach Kampala makes the fruit rich when they are looking ugly, but from the farm actually they live when they are looking nice. And I can assure you, I have brought my mangoes in here, Nakasero, and around Katwe. But my mangoes get finished first before they start buying the one from Kenya.
Wow.
What? Yes.
Wow.
Why? Because I have struggled to pack those mangoes and hire trucks so that they reach when they are looking nice. So sometimes it is just the challenges of making the goods reach the market, that when they reach the market, they look funny, but maybe with the value addition, when we have a factory, we may have less to take to the market, but rather now benefit from what we are processing.
Amazing. Just count me as a visitor when I come to Nebbi. I'm impressed. So the floor is open for questions. I see Mr. Wang is off as if, but I believe the MIF team is around. So you can either raise your hand, you unmute, and you ask a question, or you type in the chat box and I read it to the panelists. So I would expect some questions. And thank you, participants, for really being active. The chat box has been very busy. And also for spending a great deal of your time here. I'm sure you had other things to do.
Excuse me,
So any
Brian.
questions you could, say Mugisha Abdul, please unmute and ask the panelists.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. And thank you all the participants for this important discussion. Mugisha Abdu, as officer from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. I have been listening in carefully, and I have interacted with many youth in different settings, urban and rural, as well as central. One thing I've realized is that most of the youth do not want to start now, and they have to look for all reasons. They will look for all excuses for not starting now. So my appeal to the youth is that we need to swing into action. We need to leave talking and now start action, because opportunities come and go. These many different programs come for us, and then we do not take advantage of them. We keep criticizing the shortcomings or the challenges that are therein, instead of taking on certain enterprises. Let's embrace the commodities that are doing well in our areas. Why do we want to go to urban areas, to Kampala, to this Gulu town, Gulu city, Arua city, yet we have many opportunities that are within our doorsteps? Why don't we go into agriculture, but also do it with a calculated arrangement? Let's do it when we know what we shall invest in and what we shall get out. Is it profitable? Is it going to be sustainable? Otherwise, I thank you very much, and I look forward to attending many more of your events.
Wow, thank you so much. We feel blessed that Greater Nebbi Agribusiness Expo for the youth has brought in the big guys in the house. Thank you so much, our sister Irene, for the initiative. Yes, Irene, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for this great opportunity that you brought to bring us together to discuss the potential of agriculture in Greater Nebbi. And the discussions have been very rich, and I believe that the youth and all who have been listening in have really benefited. Personally, I have benefited so much, and notwithstanding the fact that I'm a staff of the Ministry of Agriculture, I want to start from thanking my colleagues from the ministry, especially Mr. Ogwang, who did not hesitate to accept to to come and join us in the discussion, and also bring on board other colleagues from the ministry. Thank you so much. I believe that next time when we have another opportunity like this, you will again be available and offer your knowledge and experience. Now, I want to now take a place as a farmer in Greater Nebbi, and also as a stakeholder, you know, in other perspectives, and also say one or two things. I want to start from the question that came about the relationship between is it the farmer and the value chain actors.
Yes.
Now, from the discussion, I have seen us focusing on the farmer who is actually taking part in production. Now, when you look at the agricultural value chain, from production, transport, processing, storage, I think all that is business. So if we are really talking about agriculture and business, you know, you just look at the entire value chain and you see business flowing. So you may not be an active farmer in the garden, but you are somewhere maybe doing processing of what others have produced. It is all business for you. You may cut your niche in the transport sector. For example, Grace has talked about the challenge of, you know, transporting fruits. Maybe you cut your niche in, you know, providing the right transport for fruits and maybe vegetables and other things, such that you can transport them the way Grace wants them to reach Nakasero market, for example. And then that is actually your business, and your farmers get to know that if we want to transport our fruits, the person to go to is that person, and that becomes your business. And the same with storage. I have seen at the end of the year like this, when people have harvested cotton, you know, all redundant rooms, houses turn into stores for cotton, you know. So it is all business throughout, and people are paying for them. So it is not that you're going to do your agribusiness in the actual production, maybe of an enterprise or something, but you are somewhere along that value chain, cutting out your business. And then I want to bring the issue of enterprise selection, or the kind of enterprises that we engage in, especially when we want to do agriculture for business. I talked about cotton, and then there are some other crops that we have been producing, you know, from time immemorial, and we knew them as our cash crops. And sometimes we have refused to get out of them or leave them because they are the only things we knew that would bring us money. But right now, almost every crop is a cash crop. For example, soya beans is catching fire, you know. Soya beans is catching fire in Greater Nebbi. There are so many farmers who are interested, and good enough, it does well even, you know, with little rain. And there have been very good stories of successes in soybeans and everything. So the kind of enterprises that we do. Then again, when somebody brought about the issue of milk, you know, traditionally we are not in Greater Nebbi, we are not known for rearing cattle, you know, and producing milk. But these are things that with mindset change we can get into, because there's a lot of money. You know, I don't have to say this, but we have seen that people in the West, you know, are rich because of rearing cattle for dairy and even for beef. You know, we could start with encouraging our people to rear animals for beef, as they get used to, you know, taking care of the animals in the right way, treating them, you know, producing pasture. Because right now, if you tell somebody that you have to produce pasture for your animals, they'll be shocked. I'm sure in Nebbi, someone will be shocked that they have to plant pasture for their animals. But that is a necessity. It is something that we can adopt with mindset change, you know. And with that, if we can do that, I am very sure that things like dairy will also be, you know, enterprises that our people can benefit from a lot. So the issue of mindset change, enterprise selection, you know, markets, these are challenges that we really have to see how to, you know, get around. And then the issue of quality, you know, if we are talking about market and we cannot embrace the issue of quality, which is, you know, which is a national issue, because I mean, we have had issues with our maize, we have had issues with our milk, we have had issues with, you know, almost everything. So quality really is at the center of our quest for finding markets for our produce. And the important one is the one that Brian has been talking about: better organized, better recognized. You know, we are not organized. When we are talking about cooperatives,
We are losing you, Irene. Your network has disconnected.
it is
Your network.
really
Hello.
the higher
It's breaking. Hello.
being organized.
Hello.
But we, like Grace said, when she's
Hello. We have lost her. So we can hear from Mr. Okello Shells. But as we now go straight to the point, because we are now beyond time, but based on the interesting bit of the discussion, it would be unfair to end without getting concerns from the audience. Mr. Shells, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Brian, our moderator. Thank you, team Felix, Yafesi, Osborne, Grace, and James. You have really engaged us this evening, and we are very happy.
Yeah.
I wanted to make just 1 or 2, 3 comments. This is the beginning. When you arranged this webinar, I said, should all the people should also attend? You have allowed me, so I'm grateful for that. I have a few things which I thought I should start with. To thank you, especially your quotation of the president of African Development Bank. The future of the world is in agriculture. So agribusiness is the way to go for employment, for wealth creation, And for everything you would do, people must begin picking that one a little bit very seriously. I want to share with you just one of my own experience, that in the early 70s, at the age of 15, I bought my first radio cassette using farming. I actually planted cassava as a young man. Imagine at the age of 15. So I bought this radio cassette. Then the next year I went to my senior one. It was very exciting in the village, and people thought there was value in agriculture. And I think this is my encouragement to the youth, that you can pick up from there and we see what to do. I have a few questions in form of comments, which I think can help us in our way forward in the near future. That the young people, or the young ones, they learn by seeing and doing. How can we help the young people learn by seeing and doing? Because unless they see, they will not do it. That's what I see for our Greater Nebbi people. When we despise agribusiness or agriculture, then our young people will also not pick anything. Number two is when Grace and Felix at Osborne were presenting, I was expecting them to mention some of the key benefits, especially in monetary terms. You know, when you say something is good, it must give a benefit or a profit for us. If somebody had mentioned that, you see, in Kalawang now we are getting 500 million shillings, the youth would break their legs going to the garden and beginning to work very hard. If we mention that in the horticulture, in Zombo, we are getting this, people would run there. So how can we compile some of those information about the success stories in monetary terms and help the youth understand that there is money in there? The other question which I wanted to put is, Brian, you are leading a very good team of these panelists. What role can our agricultural professionals play? Those in animal industry, those in crops, those in agribusiness, those in agro-marketing, in doing this encouragement? Because you are now the resource which we are seeing coming out. And this resource can be utilized when we put it down and we use it practically to encourage our young people in these areas. And to a great extent, they will learn from us and they will move from us. And the last one, which I wanted to mention, was the role of models elsewhere, learning visits. How do we engage the local government of Zombo, of Nebbi, and Pakwash in picking our interesting youth and taking them elsewhere to give a physical learning from them in the West, in the Central, in the East, so that when they come back, they wake up from their slumber and begin following this. Finally, Brian, this month, everybody's greeting each other. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Those are simple wishes. The wishes each other. How do we turn this Happy New Year into New Year goals in agro-business, in agri-business? So that, because you cannot tell me I'm happy if I'm not employed. You cannot tell me I'm happy if I'm not earning anything, any wealth. Why can't we turn these wishes? These are almost like prophecies, no? Okay, let there be, let there be. Those times have ended with the God. But now people must turn into their goals in what they do, and the young people should do so. So for me, I've joined as an example because I want to come to you. I'm going to meet Brian probably if he accepts.
Sure.
I'm told you're in Makerere here, and I have all those other team with masters in agriculture. I want us to get a core group of potential people, and we encourage them to do this so that we can give you some historical and elderly support in trying to mobilize our people. And if we can start, I've seen my sister there, Frida, if we can start our small farm from which people can come and learn, like Grace is doing within Nebbi, within Pakwash, within Zombo, and people learn from that. And you know, Chinua Achebe said, when the big cow is eating grass, the calf is washing the mouth. And that's how it learns to eat. There's nobody which teaches it. It will just see and also do it. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much. These are good elderly points we have taken note. I think there were comments basically, but about the role of agricultural professionals, I commit that I will do my best, my capacity, and the team around me, I'm sure, is a dedicated one. Because otherwise, if they were not, they wouldn't accept the invitation. And also, the president of the young professionals, the committed person, as they will wind up this session. So maybe for the benefit of the audience, we shall be doing periodical webinars, but also some activities. Like we said, we need to get time and go to Fida Nakazi. We need to get time and go to Grace. It could be a half-day kind of engagement. We go on a learning visit and we compare notes. About figures, that one maybe it's quite tricky, but we could hear from Grace about how sensitive it is, but that could be a research thing also. Sometimes they don't ask directly about the exact figure, we compute them or we impute. About the New Year goal, yes, this is a year of action. Work, not words. So I see, Xavier, I give you 1 minute to raise your concern. Xavier, 1 minute before we close.
Thank you very much. I'm Crystal Xavier, an agroecologist. I work with a team of youth in Nebbi, Zombo, and Pakwach, doing agroecological practices. These points have been so good, but I'm going to talk specifically on a few issues. Just on around when everyone is doing business, you have to be calculative of all the input and outputs. So most youths are out there, not that they're lazy. They lack these financial services. I'm glad they talked about it slightly. But next time I have a request, if you could have people give us deeply about taxation and trading permits. If you can get some good clarity about that. We have very many youths who are doing agro businesses, but they're hit hard. So I don't know if next time you can organize and even bring the leaders, our local leaders, to be part of this so that we get workable answers. By the time you leave such panels, you have workable answers. These things of using statistics, sometimes they don't work. They're not practical. Just thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other concerns before I invite the president of the young professionals? Brian Pimondo, 1 minute.
Yeah, actually, thank you very much for fruitful discussion. Actually, I'm grateful if such kind of discussion can continue next time, and we shall have more information. As I talk now, for me, I deal in honey. I train youth in honey. I also have my company that's called Bratex Agroventures in Zombo. So we are trying to do things, to do value addition, more especially in beekeeping. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All the youth who have products, we are planning an expo in December or no, around November there. So all the honey, all the different products, all the good practices, we shall have to showcase them. If there is no any other question, then we shall produce a report after this. Most of the submissions were more action points, so they were implied. I call upon our president to summarize, give us a conclusion, and then we close. James, are you there?
We can't see James. I think
James is off. Then maybe you could get us a conclusion from our panelists. Grace, in line with the theme, could you give us a 1 minute conclusion on the potential of agribusiness for employment and growth creation in Greater Nebbi? Just a wrap up in 1 minute. Grace is also off, I think.
Brian, I'm back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, give us a
Brian.
conclusion, a take-home message.
Yes, I want to thank you for this and all the people who have participated in this. But as I said earlier, there's that great opportunity that we still have in Nebbi, that we, the people of Nebbi, need to embrace, especially in agriculture. It is just that we have not brought the figures yet. There will be that time, yes. Otherwise, what would keep us? What would keep Shida Nakazi there? Or what would keep me there?
Yes.
Because we also have the potential to be in offices, but we are there. So it is just that we need to shift our mind from thinking that it is something that is not beneficial. Because as you said, for me, I have had the youths who tell me that in Alure, that Furunego tractor, like, and that is just a way of escaping from reality. But I have also seen that with all that we are doing, I've seen youths come up to pick up. Someone comes to the farm and does not want to go back. So others have learned, others are doing their own things. They leave the farm and start up their small farming activities. So there's still a big opportunity that people should invest in farming. That dairy thing can happen in Nebbi. We just need to change the mind that I am investing in this. And if we don't do, people will come and invest while we are seeing, because it has also started happening. Can you imagine someone comes from west to come and grow watermelon in Nebbi when we are looking?
Imagine.
So yes, the opportunity is there, but just that we are reluctant, and that mindset that it's not a white collar something, which has changed in so many other places, but in Nebbi it's still there. We cannot deny. So
thank you so much.
Welcome.
Well, thank you so much. Expect us at your farm anytime.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, Mr. Felix, wrap up message, a take-home message for us.
Yes, thank you so much. It has been a very great opportunity. I wish more people were also enrolled to listen to such a program. However, there is still opportunity for more to benefit and to learn more. As we always know, why people have not gone much into the opportunity, ventured into the opportunities, because they have not had the opportunity to know that opportunity exists in agriculture. So I call upon this network to create more outreach to other potential youths. As I talk now, we already have a number of graduates in agriculture, right from certificate to degree, who are there at home waiting to be employed. That is not really accepted in agriculture. These are the people who would be our model farmers in the community, because agriculture is all about money. Like Grace said it, if they are not making money, they will not be there. Yes, I'm a worker, but I make much of my money from farming. Akwashi, which is a very dry area, for example, there are farmers who are getting up to 120 millions in a year from growing tomatoes. That is money. All you need is to get serious, get close to the knowledge source. Where is the knowledge source? We have the extension workers, both government and private. Let's get to them. Once they get to teach us what it is, what it means to venture into ABCD, then bit by bit, I think we are good to go. as far as the financial services are concerned, let's start with what we have. Government has committed itself to providing the financial services through a number of interventions. But unfortunately, most of our people are not ready. If we continue to wait for financial services to come when you have not started, how do you get off? Because they need to first trust you based on the experience of what you are doing. That is when they can build capacity. Lastly, Brian, I think it is important for us as young professionals to go have more exposure visits. Within Nebbi, let us try to map out all the potential areas and where possibly the youths could meet some small costs. Then we go to other regions and possibly also take some farmers out. Like last December, we were able to take some farmers from Pakwash to Kenya. It was a very good learning opportunity, which I think should be a continuous process, not only Kenya, but also Tanzania. So I think when you develop some concepts along that line, we could be funded, but also not forgetting to map out some of the potential youths that are already doing some investment so that we could be supported along that line. They will be published in such a way, I think we shall be able to pull up everybody on board. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Felix. That point is very strong. Exposure visits and cataloging. We need to deliberately develop a catalog, a directory of our youthful agripreneurs. I remember there was a project that was looking at awarding best youth in Uganda. I was part of it. COVID came and disorganized us a bit. So you could borrow such a thing and we be awarding our best youth who are in agribusiness. So Dr. Osborne, 1 minute summary.
Put in the chat that he will be on.
Yes, yeah? You're off.
He has put in the chat that he's off, he's going off.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, thanks for the opportunity and all that, okay.
You can read his comments. I think he has something on his
he says, thank you for the opportunity. We must work towards ensuring youth engage in agriculture by demonstrating to them. He's off for another meeting. So is the MAIF team still on, or any of them? They will give us also a summary. MAIF team is off. So maybe I conclude by saying this was good, and I believe it will have a huge multiplier effect to all the youth. Thank you so much. To all the elders who logged on, we appreciate your commitment, and it's always good when you're working in an intergenerational mode. So we shall be announcing the next session. We had a plan of making it monthly, depending on how we shall consult further, but probably every 2 months will be much more ideal. This one was more of diagonizing the issues around production. So moving forward, we shall focus the issues and maybe banking, or maybe agricultural insurance. They'll be more specific than it was today. This was to level the ground. So we keep in touch, and at the end of the day, we plan to have an expo within the end of the year, to have some exchange visits and the directory cataloging, among others. I appreciate. Thank you so much for being a good audience. I remain Brian Ogenroth, your moderator for the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.